Everybody, Blair Nightingale here with Tradeway 430. It's time for Stock Talk Thursday. I like to always say your one-stop stock stop or stock shop. At the end of the week, this is where you get to join me for a nice, quick, streamlined session together where I'm going to say, hey, what's going on in the market? What is hot out there right now? What is not hot out there right now? What are some things we can learn? That is the biggest part of Stock Talk Thursday. We're not just going to look at tickers that are hot, tickers that are not. That is not the only thing we do. When we look at those, we're going to learn some lessons about stock trading. I hope to highlight something that's under the surface for you on every stock that we look at. That is the purpose of our time here on Stock Talk Thursday. Also, big news item coming up this week. We've had a good stretch now for about 3 weeks where we've had some major news that we need to watch for and understand what is happening, why it's happening, what time it's happening, so that as traders, we are prepared for that. That's something coming up tomorrow as well. So I'm going to let you know at the end of the broadcast what that is, because we always go over news to help you sift through the news and know what to pay attention to, what not to pay attention to. As traders, it is extremely important that we understand what's happening on the chart and what's one main thing that's going on in the news that I can follow along with, because it's going to impact the market one way or the other. If you are joining us tonight live, you can go ahead and pop your name, comments, questions, thoughts, anything you'd like right there into the comment box. That'll send it on over to me. I'd be happy to answer your questions. If it's something directly related to something I'm showing you or we're talking about, that's awesome. That's great. If it's not, you can go ahead and send it in anyway, because I'd love to hear from you and I'd love to answer any questions that you might have. You can send those in and I can answer them. Again, even if it's not specifically related to what we're talking about, all things stocks and trading related are welcome here on Stock Talk. This is a resource for you. So go ahead and send those in to me. With that said, you're looking at the chart of the S&P 500 right now, grinding away, right? Grinding away, knocking out some all-time highs. We are seeing some news driving the market at this level. Not enough to take it really far, but not enough to bring it down. So just kind of floating along there right now. Here's the first thing I want to show you guys today. Remember, I said we're going to go over hot, not, and news. So let's start with hot. Here's something I want to show you. And we looked at this stock recently. Okay, and this ultimately is my point. Okay. This stock was originally posted for some of our students on this day right here. Okay, this day right here. The reason is because I don't guess, I don't gamble, I don't go for it. That's not what we teach at Tradeway. That's not how you trade. If we want to gamble, we can go to a casino. But it's not something that we need to do on Wall Street. The difference is that we use a system. Part of that system is identifying patterns. And here we have a great looking pattern, okay? I got to change one thing for us here so this will run a little smoother. All right, we got a great looking pattern here, and yet it's not going up, is it? It's going down. But notice how the pattern stayed intact. It bounced right at our support line and moved up into the resistance area, only to do what we would expect. Now, we didn't know it would do this, but we expected that it would. Once it hits the ceiling, resistance, it drops off, okay? So we had no crystal ball. We were able to follow along on this trade. But here's what I want to show you today. First of all, it's not complicated to look at a stock like this and say, you know what? I can decide for myself whether that stock is hot or not. It's hot for two reasons. One, it's hot because from the left-hand side of the chart to the right-hand side, more specifically the left-hand bottom corner to the top right-hand corner of the screen, the stock is moving up. Right? It's moving directly diagonal across the screen, right? That doesn't seem too hard. We know something good is happening, but it's also in a great pattern. It's not just grinding up. It's in a great pattern, what we would call reliable, predictable, repeatable. So it's not only hot because it's moving up, but it's moving in a pattern that you and I can learn to recognize and potentially take advantage of. But here's what I want to say today. That's the third thing on my list of why I think this stock is clearly hot, right? I don't think this is my opinion, right? It's not my opinion that this is a hot stock. This is a hot stock. Now, remember, we always talk on this program about the disciplines and skills of trading stocks, not investing stocks. We are not talking about the long-term buy and hold mentality where we're going to purchase a stock and hold on to it for a long time. We're talking about price action. We're talking about swings in the price that we take advantage of. That's trading. Sounds a little more technical than it is because all we need to do is find these patterns. EW is in this pattern. What does it do? It comes back into that same area, and that is what I want to point out today. What happened in this pattern? It continued to work. It continued to work. And sometimes we can look at a great stock, a great pattern, maybe a great trade for you, and move on. Move on to something else. Move on to the next one. Well, this pattern continued. When is a pattern over? When it's over. A pattern's over when it's over, and it's not over yet. This pattern is not over yet. So we can continue to watch a hot stock. And that's what I wanted to highlight today. Here on Stock Talk Thursday, we could come in and we can say a new stock every week. And sometimes, in fact, often, that's what we do. In fact, that's almost all that we do, which is why I wanted to highlight this today to say, you know what? In stock trading, you know what's a real hot idea? Keep it simple. Keep it really simple, right? You can do the same thing over and over and over again. You can do the same thing as long as it's working for you. You can do the same thing. We just learn the system and exploit the pattern. And if that gives us an opportunity over and over and over again, then that's fine by me. Here's something else we can look at. Highlight the point even more. Okay. We've got our sectors in the market. Okay. Look at healthcare. Now, we actually looked at healthcare recently on Stock Talk Thursday. In fact, we did it 2 weeks ago. You know what it did since then? It hit its support line and bounced back up again. Right in here, it did what we would expect the stock to do. Now, this stock represents an entire sector. Okay, this is what we call an ETF. But you can see healthcare stocks doing just this. Some of the big ones you can think of. This is what we went over on our Stock Talk 2 weeks ago. Pfizer, Johnson & Johnson, right? They are in this healthcare fund right here. This is representative of that sector, and it is in a great pattern. And it was the last time we looked at it. It's still there, right? We don't always need to find the next new home run stock. What if the stock is just continually doing the thing we want it to do? To me, that's a pretty hot idea, right? That's a great idea and something that we ought not to miss. I can see some comments here, Susan. I don't know exactly what the beginning of your message is, but Susan says, I hope to keep watching. She's tagging some other people. If you're ever watching Stock Talk or any of our other programming on Facebook or YouTube, you can always, particularly on Facebook, you can always tag your friends in the comment section there, and it'll actually just let them know that this broadcast was recorded. That way, if they would like to watch, they can also access it as well. So super easy, super simple. Appreciate you doing that, sending that over to people who can benefit from this information as well. But man, what a nice pattern, right? Just a great pattern. And that's what we want to teach you how to do. That's what we want to help you get mastery of, and keep it simple. Keep it simple, because moving on to something else just makes it more complicated than it has to be if the pattern has never changed, right? It's just an extended pattern, okay? There's lots more we can say about patterns, but that's EW and healthcare, because that is something that just continues to keep going strong. So I love that. What's some stocks out there that are not hot? I've noticed a couple things here. If I look at financials right now, it's a mixed bag. Okay, it's a mixed bag. It's kind of on its way down. It's matched this high. Classic looking M pattern starting to form here. Made a high, made another high, starting to pull back. Not a huge drop off here, but a little bit of risk on that side. When I go out and I look at something like this, right? Same looking pattern there. Makes sense, of course, because we're looking at that industry. But if we go over and we look at some of these financials, credit cards, finance companies, these ones are starting to get pretty soft here. Visa, another one, boom, getting killed, right? Great uptrend, breaks the trend. That's it. My hands are off of that one. Unless I know how to make money when the stock's going down, right? That's what we teach our students how to do as well. Unless I know how to make money when the stock's going down, then once that pattern breaks, then I'm out. Now, we just highlighted I can stick with it as long as it keeps going. But once it's gone, it's gone. I'm out because look what happens in these guys. That, not such a hot idea, right? Not such a hot idea. Knowing how to trade put options, that's a hot idea. Not knowing how to trade put options, not such a hot idea, right? Not such a hot idea because we miss out on a lot of really great potential opportunities. But this stock, it's showing some weakness. So there's a few of those really getting killed. I also noticed, let's look at this guy as well while we're looking at these. There you go. If you ever wanted to look at a textbook M pattern, now we teach you in the program exactly how to trade the M pattern. But there you go. There's a pretty nasty looking M, and it shouldn't be too hard to find it on the screen because it just looks just like a normal M, right? That's how it looks. That's of course why we call it that's why we call it an M pattern. So some of those financials getting soft, that'll be interesting to watch in the next few days. Biggest thing for me, the news tomorrow, back to the S&P. Looking at this, just kind of grinding away, right? Grinding away, not really coming down much, not even touching this 5-day moving average. That 5-day moving average just plots an average of the last 5 days, and it has not even been touched now for 4 days. But we had a pretty good jobless report today. The bigger one tomorrow, the news item for us is 8:30 tomorrow morning. The jobs numbers are going to come out. How many jobs did we add to the economy? Is the COVID recovery continuing? Is the variant slowing it down? That's part of the conversation, but it's really going to come down to the data, which you and I don't even need to sift through the data. We don't even need to necessarily know. Wall Street's just going to respond to this jobs report and let us know what they think about it. What's tricky is that I've mentioned the last 2 weeks about the Fed because we've had the Fed report. So hopefully you guys 2 weeks ago on Wednesday, last week on Friday, were able to see the Stock Talk program and were prepared for that because it definitely affected what was happening in the market. That would have helped you protect your money, potentially even take some opportunities. So that's something to watch for tomorrow because the market is looking at the jobs numbers, but what they're thinking about is the Fed. They're thinking if the jobs numbers are really great, meaning the economy is strengthening, you say, well, that would be a good thing, right? Well, normally that would be a great thing. But if Wall Street says, we like the fact that the Fed is pumping money into the market, they're buying lots of bonds. Now, that's obviously not directly going into the stock market, but they're pumping money into the economy. They are buying a lot of assets, billions of dollars, and they're talking about rolling that back. I've mentioned that for a few weeks now. If the market says the economy is getting really strong, let's say we have an excellent jobs number, they're going to potentially assume that the Fed is going to stop their purchasing program even sooner, right? So the Fed's spending all this money, it's helping prop up the economy. Wall Street likes that. If they're going to stop spending that money, Wall Street doesn't like that. So a good jobs number might actually end up being bad news to them, right? Whereas a bad jobs number would normally be a bad thing, right? If it's lower than Wall Street estimates, that actually may comfort Wall Street right now. Now, I know that sounds weird, but it actually might be something that they like because it could prompt the Fed to keep purchasing billions of dollars of assets for that much longer, right? So we'll see how that plays out tomorrow. If you're actively trading in any positions, this is going to happen right before the open. You won't have an opportunity to exit any positions prior to the open anyway, but you can definitely you can sit and watch and see what happens. We don't recommend that you just go and liquidate any position. Again, talking trading, not long-term buy and hold investing. But it's not something that we treat like an earnings report. It's just a very newsworthy item that can often give a real drive to the market. And the last thing I'll say is that we're in what we call an extended area right now, right? Let's see. Do I still have this on here? I don't. I'll do this with you guys. Okay. Starting from support here. Draw this arrow up to the top. Okay, get rid of that. So what do we got? We got an arrow like this. Basic distance between support and resistance. It's exactly what the stock did here, right? That's the distance. So I just went to look and see, well, okay, based on symmetry, how close are we to that move? Now, it does not have to fall just because it fills in that arrow. But that's the move it's been making. And I look at that just to get a general idea of where are we at in terms of the move that we've made. And we're just about right at the top of that. Now, I'm not letting that tell me that the market has to fall, okay? But I am looking at the fact that if the market does not like what happens tomorrow, we're already at a pretty extended spot. We're already up into resistance. So I could expect some more downside movement at that point than maybe otherwise, because it's not like we're only halfway up the distance that we've been moving. We're almost the entire way, okay? So we could see a bigger pullback based on news that Wall Street does not like tomorrow. On the other hand, if it is what they wanted to see, then we can hope for some conviction, some direction. But even where we're at right now, because it's higher already, I don't expect a huge upside move today, or tomorrow rather. Wall Street would have to be very pleased with a number of things to really see that kind of confidence settle into the market tomorrow. More or less, I would say if they are happy with it, we see a bump, but nothing blowout. But of course, we don't guess, we don't gamble, we don't go for it. We wait, we let the market tell us what it is doing, and then we make decisions based on that. That's really going to be an awesome outlook for us over tomorrow, over the next week, giving us an idea of what's going on out there. Susan says, oh, sorry, it auto-corrected. Yes, no problem, Susan. Susan says, that's a cool M pattern. It's a very clear M pattern I showed you there on that other chart. So that is our quick one-stop shop. That's how we want to do this here on Stock Talk Thursday. Not drawn out, not too long, just a nice, quick look at the markets, what's going on, what's happening in the S&P, what can I watch for this week, what's an industry doing well, what's not doing so well, and really, what's some wisdom I can gain to help me in my trading. And we covered a good amount of things tonight that you can practically begin to think about and apply to your own trading to help take you to the next level. Anyone out there who's not learned how to use the Tradeway system yet, head on over to tradeway.com. Right there on the main page, we've got access for you waiting to our step one, start your journey. It's very inexpensive, 2-day, full days of class teaching you our stock trading system. We'll even give you a preview into options on that. If you've never seen options, they're super cool. You definitely want to check that course out. Get yourself started. That is all for Stock Talk Thursday. Appreciate you guys being on with me today. We'll watch for that report in the morning. Follow us as always right here, Facebook and YouTube. You can like, you can subscribe. It will let you know anytime we're going live, and we are going live all through the week. So we will join you. You can join us. Click the like, subscribe buttons there, and we will see you guys next time. Thanks so much, and